Hello, leader. Do you have an advantage that you're not leveraging to attract top talent to come and join your team? You could be sitting on gold, literally. Today, you'll meet a member of the Leadership Lab, and she's bringing along one of her most recent new hires to talk about how workplace design helps to attract the very best of the best candidates for your role postings. Join us as you learn how they're leveraging their brand aesthetic to showcase for applicants what it would be like to work alongside them. And you can do this too. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast. If you are a woman who owns a small business and you'd like to learn how to lead your team so they don't need you to hold their hand, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Shelli Warren. I've led winning teams in retail, innovative technical teams at a Fortune 50 corporation, and coached many remote teams to win at work. And in case you're wondering, no one escapes team troubles, including me. You already know that the people side of running your business can be tough. I'm here to help. So let's jump into today's episode with a little reminder that the team that got you here may not be the team that will get you there. Hey, have you been catching the episodes that are featuring some of my clients? I hope so. They're all incredible, and we all appreciate how open they are to sharing their insight with us. The good stuff, the not so good stuff, and the stuff they're working on either as a one-to-one client or in the Leadership Lab. This particular episode kicks off a new series all about hiring. So be sure to hit subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And P.S. Here's my nudge for you to engage with my clients online. Tell them what you thought about their episode. I mean, jeepers. You can imagine what it takes to go behind the microphone when you normally are all in on your earbuds. It's not in their comfort zone, so please show them some encouragement. And if you missed some of the more recent client-featured episodes, just sit back in your podcast app a bit. Thank you. Okay, I just love introducing you to members of the Leadership Lab. Today, you'll meet Jenni Egger and Lindsay Martin. Jenni Egger is a former prestige cosmetic executive turned stay-at-home mom turned renowned interior design firm owner. In 2015, JED branded a cabinet line and focused on kitchen and cabinetry design. A few years later, it became clear that scaling a firm was the only way to provide the service level that she wanted to offer her clients. So Jenni started to build her team, and the business 10x'd in 3 years. In addition to custom cabinetry and millwork, JED also offers window treatments and other soft goods. Her design firm currently consists of a new workplace based in Indianapolis known as 23 East, with projects all over the country and a team of 12 specialists. When she's not designing beautiful spaces for her clients, she can be found working in her blooming yard, enjoying time with friends and family, cooking for a crowd, or simply for her husband Howard and her son Charlie, and loving on her ever-faithful golden doodle companion, Henry. Jenni's bringing along with her today Lindsay Martin, who is originally from South Georgia and spent a decade in New York City working closely with two of the most creative editorial geniuses of our time in the fashion and publishing industries. She fell in love with the Midwestern boy and bid farewell to the Big Apple, bringing with her years of knowledge and expertise when it comes to the art of creating and capturing a powerful scene that pulls you in to a brand. Lindsay now calls the Indianapolis area home with her husband Mike and son Shepard, and recently joined Jenni Egger Designs, JED Designs, as the Director of Brand Marketing. Leveraging her keen eye for photography and storytelling, she showcases the JED signature style through impactful marketing collateral and communication strategies. And as Jenni is a long-standing member of the Leadership Lab, Lindsay and two other team members, Alana and Brittany, are members of the Team Leader program. It's so wonderful to be able to support the JED team. Okay, let's chat with Jenni and Lindsay. Welcome back to the Stacking Your Team podcast, Jenni.
Thank you, Shelli. It's so great to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. And you've brought along a member of your leadership team. Say hello, Lindsay.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me today, Shelli and Jenni.
I'm excited to have the both of you here. As I was telling you before we record, this is the first time that I've ever hosted a CEO, founder, and leader alongside one of her leadership team members within a podcast episode. So I'm super excited to be able to do this, hear your perspective versus Jenni's perspective, and then double up on everything that you're doing, which is always fabulous anyways, at Jenni Egger Design. So the first thing I would love to be able to really take a bite out of is, when did you know that the incredible aesthetic that you've created at 23 East, which is your workplace, the JED workplace, when did you know that that aesthetic deserved more than your own team members seeing it and your own clients, customers, vendors, and delivery men seeing it?
Well, it was part of the vision for sure from the get-go. I've always enjoyed seeing workspaces that are aspirational, and especially in our design industry, fashion industry, when it's a whole experience to visit a place or to even experience it through social media or the website. 23 East is just an extension of that vision that we want our clients to embrace as well, which is that your surroundings can be whatever you want them to be, that make you feel like you want to feel. For us, we want to feel creative. We want to feel vibrant. We want to feel collaborative. The place, as we chose the place to have the business, is so important. And choosing this, it was this house to create 23 East, which is the home of Jenni Egger Designs, it really is picture perfect. It's just picture perfect. And so we wanted to show that through images and stories for the outside to see and feel like they're part of our world, whether they spend a little bit of time here, no time here, or a lot of time here.
Well, it is dreamy. Like that's how I describe it. Whenever I see any photos of yours, or when you come onto our leadership lab calls and I get little peeks, we all get little peeks, depending on what room you're in. It is so dreamy. And as someone who's worked in a lot of different workplaces over the years, most of them with that sterile corporate
institutional,
yeah, very, I used to call them cubicle nation vibe to it. I really appreciate what you're doing here. And I consider that an asset. Beyond the opportunity that you create for people to develop careers with you, the actual workplace is an asset. And I think you need to just leverage the health out of it to just make sure that people really understand, like, this is a wonderful, it's not even I would even consider it a perk. It's more than that, what they're getting to be able to come in to fuel their creativity at your design firm. So you brought Lindsay on. Lindsay, tell me a little bit more about your role, and then how are you really leveraging what you're doing within your role to show off what's happening at 23 East in order to not only attract clients and customers and partnerships, but to attract top talent to come and want to work alongside you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. The internal piece of the marketing is as important as the external piece. For me, my title is Director of Brand Marketing for Jenni Egger Designs. I'm about 2 months into this role, so still fairly new. This is a new role for Jenni Egger Designs as far as, one role executing all the different pieces of communication, marketing, asset design, photography of completed projects. I am also the staff photographer. So for me, I've worked in, like you just said, Shelli, I've worked in all different kinds of environments. So I've worked in corporate offices. I've worked in more creative businesses like this, spending my time away from my family and spending, a third of my life in my working environment, feeling like I'm in a home, feeling like I'm somewhere where there's warmth and it's welcoming. It adds value to my life, right? It adds value to my daily life. And I don't feel like I'm just in the grind and, working my days away. So that's really important to me. I think that that's a shift in our generation as well, where, we realize there are options. And when someone like Jenni that has a vision carves this out out and makes it a reality, that's what gives us these options now. So in my role specifically, what I need to do is connect everyone outside and inside of JED to the story of JED, the vision of JED, because everything that you see on Instagram or you see on Jenni's website, that's all been part of her vision from the beginning. So getting in and learning about her brand and learning about Jenni as a designer and a CEO, I'm leveraging that to help reach people and to make an emotional connection. That's what we're doing, because that's what we do in small business. It's about relationships, and people want to have that one-on-one connection. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm here to do, is help people see the inside and outside of JED.
I love that. Jenni, how did you find 23 East?
Well, I looked at 25 other places.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I do believe that buildings and places, the direction it faces, the surroundings have sort of a soul. And I looked and looked and looked in a lot of different neighborhoods and could not find a place that felt like home for the business. And my realtor, he sent me a picture of this place, which was formerly a law office and therapist office. And he said, would you be interested in looking at this? And I just went nuts, because it is on a very quiet one-way street at the very southernmost part of my personal neighborhood where I live. And I had always thought that my brand was made for the Meridian Kessler neighborhood, which is my neighborhood in Indianapolis, but there's just not a lot of commercial buildings here. And so when this opportunity arose, it was an absolute no-brainer. The space was a little larger than what we were looking at in other neighborhoods, but instantly knew that it was right. It just showcased our talents of being able to reform a place and remodel a space for the use, functionality, beauty. And I think we took this place from a 6 to a 10 in 4 or 5 months, and it fits the bill. Honestly, we started looking because we needed more parking and a better place for deliveries. And I joke, because we have 10 parking spots here. And I say, we thought we were going to get it for the parking, but that's just part of it now. We just have so many other attributes that we love about it.
Did you have any trouble with zoning?
No, it's actually a mixed use building. So it is on what, was originally a neighborhood street, but there is a lot of commercial around this area. So we live in a historic neighborhood, and it is really just the fringe of that neighborhood where the neighborhood starts at 38th Street. We are on 39th Street. So everything from us north is our neighborhood. And so there's a lot of beautiful historic homes nearby, but there is also commercial businesses, big office buildings that are very close, actually right across the street from us. So there are also residents that live on our street. And so the only thing, we can't build another building on our property because of the zoning, but we have just sort of given up that dream for now, which is okay.
Putting my marketing hat back on, one of my favorite ways Jenni describes the 23 East transformation is we did what we do. And so at the end of the day, there's no better product to show potential partners, clients, whomever it may be, that you're getting to experience it firsthand.
There's a definite signature style at Jenni Egger Designs. It's so apparent. It's just so apparent with 23 East, with Jenni's home, her personal home, with your website design, and with the portfolio that you developed over the years. Just the body of work that you and the team have created for your clients has just been outstanding. So I agree. I love that. So how did you decide, Jenni, how to actually use this space? Because normally when you work with a client, you're helping that client live in this new space that they've acquired or that they want to renovate. So now you're the customer, you're the client. How did you treat yourself as a client? And how did you come up with a design to really leverage the opportunity that you had at 23 East?
Now, so much of it came down to space and light. So the house faces north, and I've never been a real north facing person. But we have so much light that comes through the east and the west in the afternoon that we have our work areas oriented with that. And it really does add an energy to the workspace. It's actually changed, Shelli, since we moved in. We came here when in our industry, furniture was taking like 30 to 36 weeks to have custom made and delivered. So we were not able to wait that long to furnish our showroom. So we furnished it with a lot of vintage pieces that I had designed and reupholstered, modified a little bit to accommodate people, coming in and spending time here. And then once lead times eased up, we did order a whole main level full of furniture to show our clients. And that led us to move our designers to the second level to a big office space. And so they originally started on the main level and moved to the second level. And that was really reinforced by their feedback that maybe a little more quiet area to work might be best for them. So we took their feedback into account. So now the whole first floor minus one space is essentially a showroom for us. And our designers and all of our samples are on the second level along with my office. And we have a third level that I always thought we would rent out to another firm or business. And we ended up creating a soft goods studio up there. And we have two seamstresses that sew window treatment, soft goods like pillows, cushions, light upholstery. And it's just wonderful to hear the hum of their machines that just, brings to life what we do. And we can create it up there. We can lay fabrics out and decide at the last minute that we want this image to be the center of a pillow versus maybe the one we thought when we looked at the fabric on the screen. So it's really exciting to have so many different departments and elements all in this building.
I see that as just incredible productivity that you can easily offer suggestion, check in on a piece of work, give any redirection that you've suddenly heard from a client. You can immediately go and set that new direction. I love the idea. I love the visual you just created of hearing the sewing machines running up on the third floor. I love that. How did you think about outdoor space and break rooms, lunch rooms, kitchenettes, all of that kind of stuff? Tell me about that.
All of our spaces are pretty flexible in that there'll be a desk, but then adjacent to that is a comfy chair or a small table and chairs that people can sit at. So we actually have a table and chairs on the front porch that on nice weather days, which is, about a third of the time in Indiana, we can sit out there. It's always shady. And sometimes people sit out there to take a call or work. We do have a lovely kitchenette that is not only a showcase for our custom cabinetry line, but also just a really beautiful place to fix your lunch and have lunch or a snack. And it displays our snacks beautifully, which is definitely a perk to working here. We have good snacks. The back is a parking lot, but the front is lovely green space. And we have added landscaping so that, whether you're looking out the window or taking a quick walk, we do have team members that like to go and walk around the block from time to time to get the wiggles out or to just clear their head. And so it definitely has the ability to do that. We have a beautiful church across the street that the bells ring every afternoon.
I love that. I have that here as well because my office is downtown and there is a church directly behind me. And it is the most uplifting feeling to come out to the building, to go home or to go out for lunch or to run a quick errand and hear the chimes go off. It's not that I intentionally time it that way, but when it does happen, I'm just happy about it. Yeah,
it's hard to not be happy when you hear that sound.
Yeah, for sure. So Lindsay, as the director of brand marketing, what were some of the ideas that you had coming in once you saw the space? And tell me, I want to know all about your interviewing process too. I always find that juicy. So how did that go? Like, when did you realize, wow, I could possibly be working in this gorgeous workplace?
Yeah, well, I feel like Jenni and I were fated. I am from the South. I grew up in South Georgia. All my family's still there. Jenni being, from the Louisville area and now in Indianapolis, it feels like we're both Southern transplants. And so I have relationships in the design community here as well, as a photographer. And so just different friends and clients would say, you have got to meet Jenni Egger. Y'all are like so similar. And so several people had mentioned that. And then Jenni actually had a luxury tag sale. And I was like, and she posted on social media, and I loved what I saw. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go to that. And so I actually just came by myself on my lunch break from my former job one day. And
good for you. I love this initiative. I love this signs of initiative. People just, I'm going to take action on this.
I am an action oriented person, and I am more than anything, I'm just a relationship and driven person and a connector. That's something that's said to me often in my life is you're a connector. And I do enjoy connecting people, especially in the creative field and especially women. And so in coming to visit 23 East for the sale, Jenni was just so welcoming and friendly. And we started chatting, and I have a young son and was talking to her about wanting to leave corporate and, wanting to tap into my creative talents and, marry those with my career experience and what that looks like. And so Jenni shared with me about her, career in corporate where she started. And there were just a lot of synergies and similarities in the choices she's made in her career and life and the ones that I am making and want to make. And so she was like, well, I'm looking for somebody if you want, or I'm interested in, speaking and just kind of seeing where we both are. And so I came back one day and I felt horrible actually, because I wore something I would never have worn on a job interview. And when I sat down, I realized I was like, this is like a legit job interview. But Jenni's just so like wonderful and lovely and welcoming that it just was like, it was a very organic, natural conversation. And then we just really drilled into, I think we were both extremely intentional about aligning on expectations and on both sides. And something Jenni has said throughout is she wants it to be a 360 opportunity and benefit both of us. And, not to brag on Jenni too much, but I mean, she is also a connector and brings people together and fosters talent and wants the best for them. And there are many, many success stories of people that Jenni has hired or worked with and helped, or just mentored or whatever it may be. And so for me, I saw the proof in the pudding. I did my due diligence and kind of asked around our shared networks about her.
As you do.
And her work, correct. Already being familiar with her work, I knew the standard of her work and already respected that. But it was really when I came to talk to Jenni at that meeting at 23 East, when she went deep into her SOPs and the infrastructure of her business. That is what, for me, did not scare me away from working for a small business, because I was leaving a corporate job where I had a pension. You don't have a pension anymore. The golden handcuffs are few and far between these days. And so it was a really big decision for me to step out of, this, I call it stable Sally.
I call it the velvet coffin.
Yes, well, that too, that as well. But as far as a calculated risk goes, this was the safest possible thing for me to feel both fulfilled and, add monetary value to my family and to my own life and things like that. And so that is what really drew me in, was the brand that I already saw the foundation of. And I'm not having to create a brand. I'm just activating it. I'm just sharing it. And also, just like I said, her infrastructure just really impressed me, that I wasn't walking into just kind of like a willy-nilly, like, we love design and we are so successful with clients, but we don't have any processes or, formal business, processes. So that is how it came to be. At least in my mind. Hopefully Jenni agrees.
That's how I remember it, Lindsay.
Yes.
Yeah, we were actually supposed to work together years ago, right before COVID. We were on just a panel sort of thing, and it got canceled because it was during the pandemic, and we were kind of on conference calls and emails together. And so I had always followed Lindsay on social media, but had never crossed paths with her.
So when did you come to the realization that you wanted someone in this role?
So last year we rebranded. We went from Jenni Egger Designs on everything to shifting to JED. And part of that was our clients and anyone understanding that the business was more than Jenni Egger. And JED seemed to be what a lot of people were calling the business on the inside and outside anyway. It was easier for everyone to say than my name every time. Part of that rebranding was this notion of telling the story through the website, making people feel like they know us from going to the website. Instagram sort of served as if you want to get to know us a little bit better, come on in here and hang out with us for a while. But for me, it was more than just what the outside was seeing. It was the inside, because since I scaled the business, it has been very difficult to keep up with the day-to-day communication among the team, with all of our vendors, with everyone that we touch, in fact. And we have so many tools. I mean, our toolbox is so big, but I needed someone to take all of that and ensure that everyone is getting the same experience, whether they're a new employee coming in or a client that we're onboarding or someone that we're just communicating with throughout the process, that when they come to visit us, they're getting the same experience, that people know what to expect before they come. I think that's a big it's intimidating to come into our world sometimes because it does kind of look like everything is just so perfect. And so even, Lindsay's been wonderful to just streamline everything that already exists, like she said, but just bring it to the forefront and communicate it, which communication takes time. It absolutely takes time and effort and energy and tools, and to have this person who can just ensure that there's consistent messaging and that it always aligns with our brand objectives and the brand itself, and that it's just strategic. Everything we do now can be strategic, as opposed to like, which tool are we going to pull out today? And we pull that one out and sometimes it works or doesn't. So that was really the reason. Consistency is the main reason. It also just adds value to our business. Working with you, Shelli, it's so clear that I cannot be the only leader in this business. And so part of this wave of bringing new people, new professionals on, like Lindsay, is that I went from, okay, we have all these tools, all these people have to do is learn how we do things at Jenni Egger Designs. I shifted from that to, I want to align myself with professionals that have already proven that they have the brass tacks, what it takes to do this, and that they've done it before, they have experience. Because again, back to time, I don't have the time to teach everybody. I want them to come on and say, yeah, I did this over here and I can do it even better here. And so for Lindsay to recognize that the business does have that foundation, and then it's just implementing and growing what we already have.
So Lindsay, how did you feel about walking in to a brand new organization, small business versus corporate, right into a leadership role? How did you feel about that?
Great. Yes. So for me, leaving corporate, it had been 8 years. I worked for a large manufacturing company. It was a global company, 80,000 employees, and I led employee internal communications for ethics and compliance, security, corporate hospitality, HR, all different areas of the business. And so for me, that also included during the pandemic. So that included crisis communications, as well as the return to offices. So bringing corporate employees back into offices after they had been able to work from home for 2 years or however long, when historically they had not been. So from walking out of that and into a smaller business like this, it really boils down to humanity. Whether you work at a big company or a little company, as an employee, you have a standard for how you want to be treated. You have a standard for benefits you want, all those kinds of things. So I felt like the best attribute or characteristic you can have as a good high-performing employee is agility. So no matter what environment you're in, no matter what the specifics are, being able to flex to that. And so walking into the smaller company, honestly, it just felt great because it I can see my impact immediately. I can get feedback immediately. I can, really collaborate with all areas of the business. I mean, the soft studio is my favorite place in the building to spend time because, working with those women and just like the artistry and the type of artisans they are that are diminishing talent.
It's inspiring to be around someone who has a craft.
It's inspiring. It is.
An actual craft and mastery within that craft.
Yes. And that it's not, it's great that so many things can be automated now, but I think there's certain things that are better when they're not automated, like the soft studio work. So I did not come in here feeling intimidated or anything like that as far as, oh gosh, how is this going to go? I more came in just excited to be able to help bring this brand to life even more. And I mean, there are literally at the end of my work weeks where I'm like, man, I wish I had like 10 more hours to work on X, Y, or Z. And that's a really good feeling, and that's a feeling I haven't had in a long time. So I think at the end of the day, I just came in feeling welcome and feeling like I already had buy-in. I already had people that were ready to have that checkpoint for their presentations of, hey, is this branded correctly? Is this what it should look like going out the door? I was walking into a situation where people already looked at me as an asset because I could help them with something that, it wasn't necessarily something they didn't have time to do, which that is a factor as well, but something that they maybe didn't feel as comfortable doing. So I just walked in excited because of the people that I would be working with and also what I could give to Jenni's business.
What were some of the first things that caught your eye about 23 East that you thought, oh my gosh, I'm all fired up. I can't wait to do something with this?
Well, the first thing, number one, would probably be the kitchenette because there's a pink smeg fridge, which is so fun. But there's also a plaid tiled walls and there's beautiful custom toile draperies and the shelving with scallops on it. It's actually a very JED branded kitchen. And so for me, it also not only shows the cabinetry, but it shows just different depths of design that Jenni can do. I personally connect to Jenni's personal aesthetic with the wallpaper and the floral and the beautiful, Schumacher and Thibaut and all these wonderful like long-standing brands. But what I've been the most surprised about, I know that wasn't part of your question, but what I've been the most surprised about is her portfolio of work. And you mentioned that earlier in the podcast. And that's actually something I'm working on, is giving our audience more visibility into the realm of Jenni's work. She is not just a wallpaper queen. She is a wallpaper queen, but she's not only a wallpaper queen. There's all different styles and designs that she does. And so it changes daily what inspires me and what I want to create. But yesterday, it was the soft studio. I heard this really loud noise. It was not the hum of a sewing machine. It was the loud hammering noise of an air compressor because they were using a staple gun to cover stools. And I ran up there with my phone. And I was like, okay, ladies, I'm going to take some content and start videoing and taking pictures. And they're cutting fabric out. And they were both super willing to talk and tell me what they were working on. And that's a really important part, I believe, of having a brand manager, and as opposed to like a social media manager, a marketing manager. I am able to provide that consistency in what we're sharing, how the story is coming together, and what inspires me at 23 East that day.
And there's a strategy for it. It's very cohesive, right? So Jenni, you must feel that difference with having Lindsay in this role, that it's not a couple, 3 people trying to piece together content for the month. Does it feel very different to you now?
It feels different because Lindsay's living in it. She's working in it. Mm-hmm. When we went through the rebranding, it took several iterations to sort of capture the brand, because you kind of feel goofy even talking about it. It feels like all like happy and joy and all the things. But then when you live it, right, when you're here, you realize, okay, we really do treat our workspaces and, where we gather for meetings and how we come and go like it looks on social media or to the world. So it's nice to have Lindsay perk up about things that, quite frankly, I take for granted. I mean, I She was here for like 8 weeks before she realized that we have this, bona fide, authentic Dorothy Draper showcase piece in our parlor. And she was like, no, really, like, and it's like, no, it's a Dorothy Draper branded piece. It's in the drawer. And then she takes that. I mean, this is a great example. She takes the label and she has it framed. And now it's this, little iconic frame in the room. And so she's great at identifying like what we're keeping under the rug that we need to pull out and shake off and show to the world. So it's fun to see the business through someone that is not only as talented, but as experienced as she is, because she has worked with like the real deal.
That's just so exciting. And I love it that even though you're incredibly creative yourself, Jenni, and you probably have a million ideas, but you don't have time to execute and bring them all to life. And that's what Lindsay does. It's that the real trade-off and a buyback of your time. You have time now to go and concentrate on building the business to its next level, while she is really creating that wonderful foundation for your brand to stand on.
And as a founder, CEO, it is nice to have someone push me a little bit. We're always stretching our clients and pushing our clients. And so to have someone who says, you really should tell the world about this, or, you have this tool that I haven't seen anyone use. Maybe we should, get it out there, freshen it up, and make sure that the team knows about it.
How are you individually thinking about ensuring that everyone on the JED team gets it, that they have a incredibly beautiful workplace, and not everybody does? How do you look to even find a candidate? Because I know not only did you recently hire Lindsay, but you've hired some more people on your team too. So how are you now thinking about, wait a minute, we invested in this rebrand. I've invested in this property. We've developed this beautiful workplace. We are developing a culture to match, so that the inside matches the outside, not only for our clients and customers, but for our own team members. How are the two of you ensuring that the people that come and join the team and the people that have been with you on the team, that they truly appreciate what they've got at 23 East?
I can think of a couple ways, Lindsay. One way is when we moved the design team up to the second level, we gave them free rein to sort of create an environment, and they did a wonderful job. And so letting people express themselves and seeing at which intensity they do that helps me understand like whether they give a heck or not, and so personalizing the area and just being grateful. I mean, the team, so many times there was, when we did switch things around, then someone came to me and said, just so you know, I really, 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 really love where I work. Don't move me. And so, that certainly has an effect on the plans. And so it's more just them showing that they appreciate it. We do have a lot of perks and just environmental perks that a lot of businesses don't have, but I've always felt really strongly about having a comfortable place to work. I think from my retail background, you have these amazing floor sets and all this luxury merchandise, and the managers are always in a stock room with like literally their desk shoved under stock. And it's not glamorous at all.
With the flickering overhead light beam that's, going off every time a bug flies into it. Yeah.
And so, and I have seen other high image businesses where the same thing on the front of the house, it looks like $1 million, and the team is working in, on concrete floors with sawhorses and a board on it with an uncomfortable chair.
I love that your team had an opportunity to leave their stamp on their workplace on the second floor. I can just only imagine what the collaboration for that looked like and how excited they were to piece it all together and come up with what the visuals would look like, and then to do the shopping and the ordering and the installation and the big reveal and all of it. I think it's wonderful. So I know that the initial first floor acts as a showcase for clients, customers, partners, and of course, your delivery people. And I know how well you treat your delivery people as well. I've heard many stories about how well they're treated. They probably fight to get your delivery runs every day.
They do linger if no one answers the door. If we're all busy, they take a moment to tie their shoe or whatever. We give them a sweet gift when they bring things.
Yeah. They get a wonderful parting gift, a wonderful thank you gift as they leave. Good grief. I want to know, where are you hosting team meetings every day?
Well, we don't meet every day, Shelli. we have, the biggest room. We can all fit in that room. Sometimes we spill over to the room next door, which has big double doors. That's sort of my goal, is to maintain a team that we can all fit in that space. So everyone just finds their favorite place to sit. And we do, as in my family, we called it a circle of love. And we all gather and meet.
I've seen some recent photos that Lindsay took of those team meetings. Oh, I just love that, because I had always, we've been working together now for 2 years, Jenni, and I had always sort of visualized a big table that everybody kind of came around, or a big island or something that everybody came around. But then when I saw Lindsay's photos of everyone literally looking relaxed, engaged, definitely leaning into the conversation as to what was happening. And I thought, yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. That's what coming together for a team meeting or a daily huddle is supposed to look like. So where are you hosting your one-to-ones? So when you need some private space, some confidential space, how are you doing that?
Yeah, so I do have an office, and typically we meet in my office. There are often a lot of quiet times that we can meet in a team member's space. A lot of our one-to-ones are in the moment. Not everything is perfectly scheduled out, so we'll have a short agenda, and we can meet over lunch or in someone else's workspace.
And I'll just add that really, JED is not only a brand, it's also a lifestyle. And so 23 East, in my mind, is a living, breathing, I don't want to say person, but thing. And so we have, a process for turning 23 East on. And, we come in, we turn on the lamps, we turn on the sconces, we turn on Alexa to a soft music station. We have Jenni's signature scent, which is a candle that we light around. And it just feels good. And people do their best work when they feel good and they're comfortable. And so, having those team meetings in that space where we all feel comfortable and relaxed, and, walking into 23 East every day and seeing all these beautiful fixtures that we're selling clients and things turned on, we are really living in the brand, like Jenni said, and that gives you pride of place. And that's something you want to keep coming back to. And so you want to contribute to it staying that nice. You want to run the dishwasher. You want to throw your lunch away. You want to cut the dead flowers, all those kinds of things. It's kind of just all hands on deck. I think it kind of naturally happens when you create such a beautiful space.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Do you have a plant manager? Do you have a kitchenette manager? Do you have a waste removal manager? Because you're right, 23 East, if it was a movie, it would be its own character.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a workplace, it's its own team member. It acts like its own team member that needs to be cared for, respected, and stretched and developed as well. So I love knowing that there's an expectation across the entire team that everyone is expected to take care of the place, because nothing is more disheartening for a leader to come into their workplace and see it trashed. It is just one of the hardest things that leaders have to face. And it's a sure sign that people literally are starting to take everything for granted, and that they just don't care as much as they used to. And so that's something anyone on a leadership team needs to keep an eye on and confront it immediately when you see that someone is not meeting those expectations, because the drift can happen so quickly. And then before you know it, everyone is acting that way. And it's a sure sign that you've lost control of your team culture. So one of the quickest ways to get back at it, I like to call it putting things back to base, right? So you would leave every day with your workplace back to base so that it's tour ready, always tour ready, because you just never know what you're going to walk into in the morning. You never know when you pull up. There could be some clients waiting for you or a vendor or partner waiting for you, but you don't know how your day is going to go. So being able to have everything tour ready, and that's just normal. It's just normal to have everything tour ready. It's one less thing to stress about. And it's one more way to reinforce with everyone on the team that they're blessed to work in such a lovely workplace and don't take it for granted. Well, I'm just thrilled to be able to have this conversation about how workplaces really do help you attract top talent. And I believe it helps you retain that top talent. It's the extra sweetness that can be made available in the workplace. And I think at Jenni Egger Designs, both of you, all of you together collectively as a large team, just do a wonderful job of it. So tell our listeners, how can they be even more inspired by what you ladies do?
So you can start by visiting our website, www.jennieggerdesigns.com, and that's Jenni with an I. And then you can also follow us on Instagram at jennieggerdesigns.com, which is, of course, all linked on our website.
I will have all of those links in the show notes. And I think you all know I am a complete sucker for team photos, and I love action shots as well. And I really appreciate the effort that's going into showcase the team at JED Designs, your daily activities, the work that's being put into showcasing the designs that you deliver for your clients, I think are just so stunning, so inspirational. And regardless of whether you think a home renovation is in your future or whether you are living in your dream home, there's always going to be something at JED for you to have a look at and dream about and spark your more creativity. And I really like the idea that you're leveraging your role, Lindsay, to really help Jenni build out the team further and attract those people that are going to come in and recognize the creativity, the atmosphere that you're offering, and recognize that, hey, this is unique. This is special. I'm not going to get that everywhere.
Yeah, it really is a special place to work.
Well, congratulations on everything that you've done, Jenni. You've been a dream to work with. And thanks so much for saying yes to the both of you coming and sharing your brilliance with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Shelli. This was so fun.
Everybody get out there and start looking up these ladies and have a look at what they're doing every day.
And comment on our posts and say hello if you're new, or if you're not, just let us know you stopped by.
All right. Take care, ladies.
Bye.
Have you zipped over to the JED website or Instagram account yet? Oh my gosh, the links are in the show notes. You'll be instantly inspired and you'll know exactly what we're talking about when we say that the workplace at 23 East is a true reflection of the brand, and it is undoubtedly helping them to attract top talent. Any candidate who's considering applying for a role at JED need only to visit them online to know exactly what that workplace surrounding is going to be like. Before I let you go, I want to remind you that if you have a team of 5 or more and you're ready to stop getting team and leadership advice from TikTok, join the Leadership Lab or work with me one-on-one, and I'll share my experience with you so that you can accelerate your ability to find, keep, and onboard your best candidates, promote your top talent into leadership roles that free you up and get you out of the daily operations, keep the people you want and release the ones you don't, and build a team of highly capable and trusted people. Become a client, get the help you need, and then watch the improvements happen within your team that will spill over across your whole business. Apply today directly from the website or the link in the show notes. You know, leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times. So don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been craving. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.